folks, and welcome to the April edition 2022 of Great Chesterford Junction Model Railway, and this is an update for April. I haven't been doing a great deal, I suppose, in terms of stuff on the railway, although I have started preparing to finish the Bamford terminus off. That's the terminus at the very end of the branch line, and to do that I want to put manual point control in there, so I have to basically design and build a control panel which incorporates the manual point levers as well, and get all that sort of in place, so then I can add the connections to the points and possibly some extra wiring. I have to do all that before I can actually move forward and sort of start landscaping Bamford and adding all the extra detail to it, like fascias and all that sort of thing. So what I've been working on is this control panel. This is just part of it. This is a condensed control panel. I'll show you the schematic for it. This schematic here actually slots into this section here. I'll give you a better idea of how it's all going to work later on. And so this control panel will work sort of half of Bamford, because Bamford's in two separate boards, and so there's a group of 6 levers on one board and there's 5 levers on the other board. So I've made up a 6 lever frame which is incorporated into this panel, which is roughly central in the whole scheme of things there. And I've made up a separate 5 panel box which is not actually put together yet, but and the two will look as though they're part of a very flush set-in sort of scheme, condensed. So these this lever frame, for example, the levers are set much lower in this box than they would be in the other boxes that I've made, although it looks pretty much the same, and I'll explain how all that's come about and why we're doing it this way, etc, etc. So what we'll do is we'll go in the train room and have a look. Okay, this is the original control panel for Bamford, and it's a temporary panel. It's got a couple of hinges on here, and it was meant to, the original idea was that it might fold up so that I can have access to this sliding yard under here. So it's important to keep the clearance for this thing. So I've since changed my mind about having a fold up panel. So what I've decided to do is obviously remove this panel, but design a new panel which is considerably smaller. So I designed a new panel on LibreOffice Draw, and this is just a draft printout of the actual size of the schematic for it, which is pretty close to the overall size of the electrical side of the panel, and then there would be point levers to come out this side, but the height's the important thing. And you can see if I place it next to the original panel I made, it's considerably smaller. I've got room in here to put point levers as well. So height wise it's about 2/3 of the overall height of the other one, and length wise it's a bit over halfway. So that's about as far as I can condense it, because I have to consider enough room for my hand to operate the point levers as well. So we've got down to something workable here. So what I'm working with here is there's a steel post or arm here that's actually supporting the railway, and what I want to do is I want the new control panel to come no lower than the actual steel, so it'll be down to here. So the new panel can come no lower than that, which still leaves plenty of clearance underneath for the sliding yard. And so the only way to build the panel was to keep in mind that it will be secured into the baseboard top here, which is 18mm ply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this section of 2x1 here and actually recess the panel into the board. It will go in about 52mm, I think it is, from memory. So in the end you'll have a panel that sits no lower than this bottom piece of steel. It's set back into the board, and it rises up above the board by about 42 millimeters. So what it's going to do is, if we move up to the other side of the control panel, it's probably easier to show you here, but it's going to sit roughly, if you can see, that about that high above the top of the baseboard, just here. So, and because it'll be recessed into the board, what I'll do is build a hill over the top of it. Now you remember I was talking about a second lever frame. Well, this is the join in the two baseboards. So the second lever frame, which operates 5 points, will be on the left hand side here, set in the same way as the other board, the other control panel, and the idea is that they will project about 3 millimeters out from this edge, and then I will have a 3 millimeter ply fascia coming along in between things and cleaning it up all along the edge, so it'll look fairly neat once it's finished. Anyway, we'll go back out to the workshop, and I'll start showing you how this box went together, and just a quick demo on how the levers work. Yeah, anyway, back to this box. You might notice that I've got some fairly big holes in the back of it there. That's so that I can fit through a completed switch and wire. So I can just take the switches out of the back of the temporary panel and put them straight through back into the new panel when it's all set up. And the box is quite low. I've had to set the levers quite low, and you can see the bottom of the levers comes to the bottom of the box here, and then we've got rods across to the rockers on the back, and they look like that. And yeah, I'll give you a demo. I'll put it in the vise and show you how it works upside down. But yeah, it was all about clearances with this particular build, And you might notice all these longer bits of rod sticking out. Well, I've just given myself a whole lot of extra adjustment there. That's what that's all about. I can actually trim them down a bit, I think. But yeah, that's the way it's coming up, and I'll show you. I'll put it in the vise and I'll show you how the levers work. Okay, so we've got it upside down at the moment, and you can see that I can access the levers here quite easily from underneath. There's plenty of room for the fingers, folks, and that's the main idea. I mean, if you can't get your fingers in there, it's a waste of time doing it. But I'll show you from the top. You can see the rockers working. Right, you can see how the rods move the rockers backwards and forwards there. There's a certain amount of friction on each lever, so it will hold its position wherever it is, and quite easily hold the point blades on a point. I'll just go down to the rear view now. Okay, this is the side or rear view or whatever, and you can see there's quite a good amount of movement going on there with each rocker, and these are just roughly adjusted at the moment. A better adjustment is possible. We had a running session in here yesterday and the day before with my two little grandsons, and we were using block instruments to control the trains, and the boys suggested we do it without talking, and it was terrific, fantastic. So yeah, I had the youngest one over here operating Great Chesterford Junction, and he was running both the mainline trains, two main lines, and also sending and receiving from the Bay platform to Little Bardfield and Bamford. The older boy was on Little Bardfield. He was working two instruments, and he was also sending a shuttle service into Great Chesterford number 4 platform here, which faces the yard. So it was just trains everywhere, folks. It was good fun, and they did extremely well. I was operating Bamford, actually. I had the easy job, so which was terrific. So yeah, it's all about having fun, you know. I mean, you can get all serious about building buildings and track gauge and, you know, models and all this sort of stuff, but really, if you just had a piece of track on some board and you were just running trains to some sort of schedule or using block instruments or anything, it's just as much fun. Yeah, I suppose the pleasure for me is actually building the stuff and getting it to look nice and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I think it was eclipsed by the actual running to something like prototype trains. Although we didn't have a schedule, we were running trains with instruments, which was good fun. All I can say is we're right near Easter right now, so have an enjoyable Easter wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch up with you with more updates, or worst case scenario next month for an update in May, of all times. May, where's the year gone? Anyway, I'll see you later. Cheers, Gormo.